Welcome into the Boardroom Podcast. I'm Ward 6 Alderman Ben Piper.
Ward 4 Alderman Chad Wicker, man. How you been, Ben? It's been a couple of weeks.
It has been.
This was one of the
Been a minute.
yeah, April was one of the unique months where you had 5 Tuesdays, so we kind of had an extra week of break there, and then we've been busy. We were in D.C. for a little while, so we kind of getting the show out late, but getting one out.
We'll have to talk about our D.C. trip here in just a little bit, but
Yeah.
Into the school year coming around. Baseball playoffs, softball playoffs. Unfortunately, softball team won the North Half Championship and had a tough draw there against Northwest Rankin, who was undefeated. Northwest Rankin ended up winning the 7A state championship, 34-0. It's hard to beat a team like that, but they played their rear ends off because
I think they were up in the first game, the last inning, and the last at bat.
Well, they scored. They were talking about it in the broadcast. In the 10 region games that Northwest Rankin had, right? Mm-hmm. Played 10 region games, had 8 runs scored against them the entire region, right? Mm-hmm. In the 2 games they had against Hernando, they had 7 runs scored against them. So Hernando did in 2 games what their entire region did in 10, basically. So they should be very, very proud of what they accomplished.
Strong history of softball there. I think they won state championship 21. So.
And they don't have the only senior they had was injured this season, so they have nothing but juniors, sophomores, and freshmen coming back. So the next few years should be pretty exciting for Hernando softball. The baseball teams in the state championship, if folks didn't already know, overcame a very upset-minded Oxford team.
Yeah,
right? and made it to the state championship. Now they'll play.
That has become a pretty strong rivalry between Hernando High School and Oxford High School. Even back when I was in high school, Ben, that was kind of our big rival because we were both 4A schools in, and we were, we were really competitive in baseball. And now, we beat them for the soccer championship earlier in the year, and so it's really competitive. I think that it gets a little chippy between those teams.
I know someone down there that sent me a message like that, like, oh, I've got a renewed hatred for Hernando. I was like, what in the world is wrong with these people? But, it's just kids playing ball, and let's all not take it personal and just be happy that you're in the playoffs. But, hey, whatever.
Yeah.
But the baseball team will be playing Brandon, I believe, right?
Yeah, that's where
week.
My wife, Shelby, that's where she's from. So
Brandon, what's their mascot? The Bulldogs?
The Bulldogs, yeah.
Okay. So probably the 2 most generic mascots, the Bulldogs and the Tigers.
Right.
But
they're playing at Trustmark Field, I think, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday if necessary. So,
hey, school gets out, pack up the family, get down to
I think
Pearl.
We may try to go on Saturday if they're still playing. So
we might as well. We're still looking at it, but so all that's going on. Congratulations to the class of 2024. They had their parade this week for the seniors.
Yes,
which was great, well attended. Just a fun time for all those families. So congratulations, all the graduates out there. So let's move on a little bit of city business. I know Chad and I and our mayor made a trip to Washington, D.C., May 1st through the 3rd.
Yeah, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
We hadn't really talked about it so far. But there's a couple asks, I guess, from the DeSoto County delegation. The big asks that we had of our senators and congressmen is an expansion of I-55, funds to expand I-55 from Goodman Road to Church Road is the first phase of this deal. Obviously, the exit at Hernando continues to be a major pain point that we continue to point out. But it's just going to be a process and a long process before it gets addressed. Unfortunately, it's just not high enough on the priority list for folks.
Right. We learned in D.C. that that's the same time the legislative session was closing. The state legislative session that the state legislature funded our first phase of I-55. I think $90 million is what I think they ended up giving us or allocating to us. So you'll see that construction probably start sometime next year, I guess. And
I know South Haven has already taken some measures there because the old Airways Boulevard getting closed because for the future expansion and that kind of deal. So
basically from the Goodman Road Bridge to the Church Road exit is what the first phase entails. So you'll have 8 lanes, 4 on each side.
Yeah, it's real. I mean, to me, it is helpful from a standpoint of if you ever drive up that way at 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, you know what the issue is. there's already pretty heavy traffic on 55, and then more people coming on from Church Road, and there's accidents and all kind of issues constantly. So, hopefully it'll address some of that, and then they can continue to push for, phase 2 that'll take it all the way down to 269. Phase 3 goes from 269 to the Commerce Street exit, and we'll address that exit. But, timeline is just not very clear. But the other thing the city of Hernando asked for specifically was some $10.5 million for a 4th fire station in town. Obviously, the city's growing, and from a residential standpoint and a commercial standpoint, out at the Mackinville exit and the Getwell Road exit in the future. So the city is looking for some resources from the federal government to add a 4th fire station.
Yeah, so we have applied for what they call a STAG grant, which is a state or tribal assistance grant, and so you'll your congressman puts that request in. I think he's allowed 15 or something like that, and they do the appropriations process, make a determination, and hopefully we feel pretty good about it. From talking to the Congressman Kelly's staff there, they feel pretty good about it. So we're asking $10.5 million, right, Ben? I think is what you said.
That was the ask.
So, and that's for be a 4th fire station for the city out. I guess that'd be Ward 6 out there, your area, kind of
most likely
northeast of the city there.
That's what the fire folks, the insurance rating people, and all that have said it's needed in that Green Tea Chulahoma, kind of corridor.
One thing that we have included in the application is the new high school coming up out there. That this fire station would cover the new high school. Also, the possible developments at Delta Landing that just did a groundbreaking yesterday. Possibly the other development by Hernando Hills there. So there's several different developments. There's a potential you're going to start out there, and so this fire station would cover those.
And there's a need, I think, currently, but the city's got to start taking some action, and that's one of the reasons why. When we go through budget periods and these sort of things, like it's been mentioned, before that having a $1 million contingency plan each year, it needs to be increased annually. And we're working towards that, increasing it even more so that we have more cash to be able to start on a future fire station. We know that it's a need. A police substation on that side of the city may potentially be needed at some point in the future. And we can't be at the mercy of the federal government. We need to make some of these plans ourselves, and if they can provide assistance, that's phenomenal. That gets everything done a lot quicker. But
they're just giving one-time money, so we'll have to provide staff and equipment, and which means probably a fire truck's very expensive, so you got to you're going to borrow money for that. Then you're talking about I don't know how many firemen would need a staff station, maybe 12, maybe more than that, additional city employees. So it can get very costly very quickly.
It is, but. That's kind of down the road stuff a little bit for sure, but that was the things that we were asking for there. Had some beautiful weather in D.C. My wife and I took a little day to ourselves to enjoy some of the things. Went to the National Portrait Gallery and the National Archives and got to see the Declaration of Independence, which I thought was really cool. Never seen that before. Constitution, Bill of Rights, very very cool stuff. National Portrait Gallery is really cool. It has a hall, the Hall of Presidents, where it basically has every original portrait of every president from George Washington to Donald Trump, and you kind of see how things change over time, but very, very cool trip there. So certainly appreciate the opportunity to represent the city up there in D.C. I know you did too.
Sure.
Well, let's get into our budget here a little bit, or not our budget, our agenda that we had from our May 7th meeting. So we are, about 10 days past on this deal. Get past the consent agenda, personnel, appointed our 2 new judges.
That's right.
We had the retirement of Judge Tony Nowak, who's been serving the city for how many years? You've worked with him for.
I think he said 25 years, 1999. It's when he started. I think he took over for Bobby Chamberlain when he was elected to the state Senate, I believe, and so he's been the judge ever since.
So he appointed Senior Judge Adam Emerson, and I thought it was a judge pro tem. I guess it's just a regular, another judge is Bob Morris, effective June 30th for both of them.
Right.
To kind of take over. Adam Emerson has been a judge under Tony Nowak for the last several years, serving in that capacity. He also, I know he's was the city attorney for the city of Byhalia for a while. He's
he's been a public defender in circuit court for a long time. He's a special master with the Chancery Court clerk, so he's got vast experience. I've known him. When I was at the jail there, he was a public defender there for years, so I've got to know him probably 10, 15 years. A very good attorney.
As a partner at Bridgeforth, Bunton, Emerson, and South Haven there, and
yeah, that's right.
Successful litigator. Bob Morris is the other judge. Certainly everybody kind of knows that story. Ran for district attorney.
Yeah, he
was appointed as a district attorney by Tate Reeves. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, he was appointed by Tate Reeves, and then he ran for re-election and was not successful. And so he has been in private practice, I think, since, January 1st. And I think he actually works with Adam at the law firm.
Yep.
And so at the recommendation of the mayor, we voted to appoint him as our mayor or judge pro tem. But it's simply, I think the way they have it set up now is he's the junior judge and Adam's the senior judge.
And Judge Emerson as well recommended him, so he came duly recommended. Judge Nowak recommended him. But those are the two new judges. They'll be really looking at, the vast majority of what they look at is traffic fines.
Yeah, they
DUIs and things like that.
This is a municipal court judge, and I think we're trying to kind of talk around it. There were some comments on social media that maybe negative about Bob and unfortunate. But people, I think that's good because people, I think, care about our city and want to see it do it the best, and so they certainly are entitled to their opinions and move forward. And so we're all on one accord, and we'll be moving forward with the two judges. And if there ever is an issue, we'll certainly address it if it comes up.
There you go. Moving on, paying some bills there with some folks. You will notice that we paid a Farrell Paving for Mackinville Sidewalks project. You probably have seen that kind of come along. If you've been driving down Mackinville near the high school, you've probably seen the sidewalks installation going on. Some of the traffic had to be diverted a little bit to make that happen, but allows for the kids that do walk, that come and go from whether they go down to Walgreens or they're going home or they're going wherever they need to go, at least have a little bit safer of a journey there. So that was a good thing.
Yeah, I think it run from Walgreens to just south of the school.
That's it. Had some surplus things and all, and some other survey assessing for ARPA projects, fairly low key items. And then we came to the Hernando sign ordinance that had some discussion there. So do you want to crack this one open?
Yeah. So I think we've been through the history. I'll repeat it just for anybody who's listening for the first time. I think there was a Supreme Court case that I think came out in 2016, 15, 16 time frame that essentially said you cannot, a city cannot regulate speech on signs. And if we remember the mayor election in 2021, we essentially had a non-enforceable ordinance, is what our city attorney at that time said, and so people are allowed to put up signs everywhere, right? And so signs went up everywhere, and so there was no enforceable ordinance, and so we had to look at doing something differently. So we were able to get our planner and our city attorney to come up with a document and present it to us. We put it out for a public hearing multiple times, and we presented it yesterday, or I guess this was the May 7th meeting, and voted to adopt the ordinance, essentially.
And this was one that I really wanted to take some more time with it, and that was I really wanted to take some more consideration in from some of the small businesses in town, because there is some language in there that restricts how they can use smaller signs to promote certain business activities, and just really wanted to try to hone in on that, or try to come up with some different language potentially to say, hey, if it's within however many feet of their entrance, like for sandwich boards or whatever, for restaurants or whatever else, or even for some of the boutiques have stuff. Hey, we got 20% off sale. If it's within so many feet of their entrance or something like that, let's look at it. But I know the board wanted to just go ahead and have it approved and then amend it later, which is fine. Which is certainly their prerogative to to take those steps. But to me, it is something where there are some restrictions to, how these signs go out. There's some time limits to when political signs can go out, or event signs, I guess, is how they're defined.
Yeah, the event signs have to be I think it's 30 days before the election, Ben. I can't remember.
I think it's 60.
60 days for an election. They have to be down 7 days after. You only can have, I think, 4 in your yard at a time.
Mm-hmm.
So there are some areas that probably going to have to be revamped, and have to come back and look at it as we go. I think the majority of the board want to go ahead and get something in place as we get closer to election season and go from there. But this thing also addresses murals that we never really had
That's true.
an ordinance to talk about. It also I think it goes digital signs or something kind of relatively new since the previous ordinance was done. Commercial signs, commercial district signs, actually, you can't have you're not going to see the big, large political signs anymore. I think you only can have 8 square feet, so 4x2 is the biggest sign you can have, or 2x4, however you want to say it. So there's some things in here that's going to be different, a little different. So,
I look at it as, I know that, and we had the discussion a little bit that, I may be more on the side of just, hey, people should be able to do on their property what they want to do within reason. And there's different amounts of reasonableness that we all can agree, that we can kind of disagree on potentially, right? Because I see it as, look, if, just myself, I'm just talking about myself at this point. I'm running for re-election in 2025 as the Ward 6 alderman. Well, if I want to put 4 of my own signs. Are you making
that announcement right now?
I'm just this hypothetical situation, right? If I want to put 4 of my own signs with my name on it on my property, I should be able to do that. I shouldn't be limited to 1 sign on my own residential property. That is my opinion.
Yeah. Right?
Just like anybody else. And if my opponent wanted to put, if I had an opponent or whatever, and they wanted to do it on their property, I wouldn't come down on them either because I understand it. You're trying to promote, you're trying to get your name out there. Hey, this is where I live. This is, I take care of my home, take care of my yard. This is, what the deal is. But that would be, how I look at it. Yeah. And I know not everybody agrees with that, and that's fine. Yeah. I'm not saying you should be able to put a billboard in your front yard or anything like that, or that you should have oversized signs or anything like that. There's a certain amount of reasonableness that, that we can continue to discuss and amend within the sign ordinance.
So, I think, I have some questions about how it's going to be enforced. Mm-hmm. I don't know if we're going to be out there, nitpicking people on the way they if they're following the sign ordinance or not. Right. In my mind, I think it's not going to be a big difference in what we're seeing now. I think just except for political signs, but it's
remains to be seen.
We will see. I know it has been some discussion about it. And some people are concerned about it. That you are increasing the the regulations on people. So we'll see how it goes. We certainly can make changes just as quick as we put something in place. We can take it out. I think part of the problem with signs is it's very difficult to regulate signs without regulating the speech on the signs, on the content on the signs. So I think that's the very, very fine road that Austin and Steve were trying to do with this ordinance. And maybe some areas we can improve it. We'll see. Like you said, it's yet to be determined. But it will be nice not to have some of the big political signs in people's front yard and stuff. So, right of ways and all that stuff.
Well, that was the big discussion thing that we really had from this last meeting. And kind of looking forward, if we want to spin it forward a little bit, there is some more development that is being proposed in Hernando. I know that I guess the Madison Lakes development will be back in front of the board on May 21st, coming up here in just a handful of days, which I think has not been looked at in years by the city or by any city official. So that's going to be kind of a process to kind of get educated on it and, open those negotiations back up if that development's going to move forward.
The stall there was always the water, and so we're in the process of installing a water plant there and above ground tank and the whole deal. So that's opening that development up there.
Right.
I know I think the last time that was talked about was probably
prior to us taking office.
I think it was that spring before, maybe the fall of 2020, when they were really discussing how to get that thing going. There's, I think it's quite a bit of lots proposed in there. It's some residential, it's some commercial, some retail in the corner there, and this goes all the way down to McInville and Byhalia right there, across from the bank. The other side is a good. That's going to be a residential area. That's probably could be various different things.
It's going to be a lot of discussion about it, and I think there's going to have to be some tweaks made to it. There's going to have to just be a lot of discussion and time spent on that. I don't know that we'll really see that moving forward next Tuesday, but you never know. We'll have to wait and see on that. But
I think now, Ben, if I remember right, I think there's a plan already approved.
Yeah, I don't know if they ever got final approval. Did they ever get final approval on it?
There's a plan that was approved in like 2005 when it was in the county that they can go forward with, and they've obviously I think they've changed some up because they gave some land for Hernando Hill School and they gave some money for gave some land for the McInville Road extension. But I mean I
think that's why they're coming back though, is because now that McInville Road is opened up and actually realize that they're having to tweak some of that plan from they couldn't go forward with the 2005 plan because there wasn't a road built in there, so they're going to have to make some kind of adjustments to it, and that's what we'll be discussing, I think, more than anything else.
And we've talked about it, been on here multiple times, the traffic we're putting on Green Tea Road. This is going to be another potential additional traffic to Green Tea Road. So
that is something that we.
What are we waiting on?
Waiting on a traffic study? Got it. MDOT, get us a traffic study. Get us some money to get this thing designed, I guess, and get that intersection addressed.
Right. Maybe we'll get development at the next meeting.
We heard there might be some money somewhere.
Yeah.
So we'll see if that actually comes through and gets designed. But until that happens, we'll be eagerly anticipating that intersection being improved.
You got the chance with the hotel development that was approved there. This development, the school coming in is going to increase the traffic on McInville for sure. So we've got to take a really good look at that. So,
and then I'm trying to think of anything else. What else we got going on?
Today we have I think grand opening for Dunkin' Donuts, Walmart's grand reopening. I think you attended the Delta Landing reopening yesterday. I mean, there's a lot of ribbon cuttings going on in Hernando, which is good.
There is, and the big thing I think with the Delta Landing, which across from the high school, some of the backstory on that is that there was a development approved in 2007, I believe, that just wasn't going to be what the city would want. The Delta Landing agreement kind of came forward with, some changes, saved some trees in the process from just that entire property being completely cleared out, which is kind of what the original plan, was approved for. But so we're able to save some trees in the process, increase some of that green space for the people that live up in Nesbitt. But, we negotiated that one for a long time. There is some commercial opportunities that's going to come to the front of that area, a clock tower.
Have they broke ground on the YMCA yet? That's coming pretty soon, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think they have. I think they're a little ways away from that one, getting the groundbreaking there. But they did break ground on the Delta Landing deal. I think a bank and a coffee shop, I think is something that they mentioned yesterday. And then they said a family entertainment business or something like that in there. Some more details to come on that. But it sounds like they're trying to find the right fit for a very family-friendly commercial area, that doesn't necessarily have like bars and things like that. They want to try to really make it a family-friendly centered area, from everything I've heard, and with its proximity to the high school, that makes the most sense.
Yeah, so, like a bounce house or bowling alley or something.
Yeah,
like
something. That. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see what comes in there. But
hey, man, you bowl?
I'm just not a good bowler. Every time I go, I'm like, I should do this more often and try to get like respectable at it.
Yeah.
And I'll break 100, but I'm not breaking.
We need a bowling alley, Hernando. You need to tell McBride that we need a bowling alley. Over
there.
Yeah,
I'm not a big bowler, so I don't.
I think that would do well.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Has Hernando ever had a bowling alley? Can you go back in your?
Not since I've been around.
If somebody's listening, throw it in the comments. Has Hernando ever had a bowling alley? It was probably like 5 lanes or something, and it just. I don't know.
That'd be a question like for Jeff Fitch or somebody like that. They could answer that question. I don't know.
Because Hernando had a movie theater at one point, right?
Yeah.
The Vaughn
Theater it was the movie theater for a while.
But no other. I'm trying to think of anything. A skating rink? Hernando ever had a skating rink?
Not in my lifetime.
Just the outdoor one.
Maybe before. I'm sure they may have had something before.
People got to throw it in the comments. What do you want? What do you want to see across from the high school? Let's see what we can get
you
going.
said our Chick-fil-A's coming there.
Not that I know of. Not that I know. I know the people they have contracted with a group called the Shopping Center Group, and these people are going to a huge national convention to speak, directly about Delta Landing and some of the demographics and Hernando and kind of what to expect. Mainly that there's a $100 million high school being built across from it. I think it's going to be a really good drawing point and focal point. I think the building of that high school, which is really exciting for the community, means that there's going to be some more development on that corridor. And I think that this first development, this Delta Landing development, is probably going to happen in the next 3 to 5 years to get developed out. Now, after that, any future developments, I think, in that corridor is going to take more time because the market can only really sustain so much, and the amount of investment is only there for so much. So I think that you'll see this happen, but I don't want people to see something like that and think, well, that whole area is just going to be nothing but houses and businesses in the next 5 years. It is going to take a long time to fully develop that entire corridor. It'll take decades for all that to be developed out. So, certainly want people to rest in that if you have kids that are in the school district isn't going to rapidly change in the next 5 years because of one development across from the high school.
Well, too, Ben, we've said it on here before. These restaurants like Chick-fil-A, and they want traffic count in front of their business. So until the traffic count is there, you're not going to see those type of places. And really, in Hernando's only have one place with traffic count is, guess what, Commerce Street.
Right.
And that's why you see Whataburger and Dunkin' Donuts and those places.
But Commerce Street's full. I mean, that's essentially what the mayor's message was yesterday. Commerce Street's full, so we have to develop other parts of the town to pull traffic, to other parts of the city. I don't think that you will. I can't speak. I don't want to speak for the developer, but it seems like what the message was to me that fast food and convenience stores will not be in that development, which I think is what kind of people are wanting right now.
Well, Silo Square in South Haven's been very successful in pulling in some restaurants. Obviously, that's a different. They have the baseball field to draw from right there, and they get a lot of traffic on Getwell Road. They have the DeSoto Central schools are right there, so I think this has opportunity to be maybe a minor version of that. So, the jury's still out. We'll see. I think I hope it's very successful. So, it'd be good for Hernando to have another corridor there to, get things. You have like you said, Commerce is full. So McInville, it sounds like it's turning into that new corridor. Sounds like Green Tea is getting some additional, and possibly maybe even by Hellier at some point. So
it will happen, but I think it is a longer timeline than people realize.
Oh yeah,
and because it is very expensive to develop and.
Just like we just said earlier, I mean the Madison Lake subdivision was approved in 2005. Over there, and now we're in 2024, and they haven't even broke ground on the first house. So just depends on. There's so many factors: the economy, the housing market, commercial lending, all that factors into with these things, and obviously the need, the growth. We're still growing at a pretty good rate. Crime is effective. If people feel like they're not going to be safe, they're not going to come develop in your town. So,
and that will be something we have to look at in future budgets. Is do we have the public safety dollars allocated where they need to be to continue making Hernando a great, safe city to live in? Because I think it is currently.
Yeah.
And we certainly want to see that continue. And that will be something that we have to consider in future budgets. But
the data shows more people, more crime. So that's kind of if you look at that, it's as your population grows, your crime's going to grow. So
I would love to see that.
Yeah.
As in terms of like what the data is. I'd love to see that data because I understand the number of instances, but I don't know if it's like per capita.
Oh yeah.
That the rate increases.
Yeah, but the more people, DeSoto County is 200,000 people now.
Mm-hmm.
Crime's definitely higher than it was 20 years ago. Right.
Well, the number of instances, but I'm saying like per capita is the rate increasing. Like that would be kind of what I would want to see, like what the data is on that. But, I think that, our law enforcement does the best they can in Hernando and, DeSoto County to try to, address what they need to address. But there's a lot of factors surrounding DeSoto County that really weighs heavily into that. It's not necessarily
crime goes in a cycle. There's up and down trends, and so I think we're kind of in a rise right now nationwide, not just in DeSoto County or in this area. But it doesn't help that we're butted against. We're stuck in between, Memphis and Jackson and the Delta on 55. So we're kind of just like Memphis is a hub, distribution hub. It's also a narcotics distribution hub too. So
there you go. There you have it. Well, Chad, what else we got? What else is going on in Hernando? A Fair coming.
Big A Fair tomorrow. Me and Ben's running in the 5K race. He's going to meet us there at 7 o'clock.
Does it start at 7?
If you don't register, I always forget to register, so I got to get there at 7 and register. You run at 7:30.
How much is it to register? Like $25?
Something like that. Yeah, 25, 25, 30.
What's the money What's the money go to?
I think the A Fair goes to the
Optimus?
The Optimus Club.
Optimus Club.
Yeah,
that's right.
They used to. They didn't do it this year. I meant to ask why. You may know. They usually do a flock around the block 5K in April,
I remember that
and
one.
that goes to the food pantry. But they didn't do that race this year for whatever reason. So
okay, well, yeah, 5K. We'll see if I show up. Chad will definitely be there. He'll be one of the fastest in.
I don't know about the fastest.
One of the fastest in the. Or was it over 40?
Oh no,
division.
I'm 39, sir.
Okay,
35 to 39 division.
Okay, well, he'll be one of the first. He'll be in the middle of the pack then, but. We'll see where Chad finishes on that 5K. We'll see if I actually show up to it or not.
Yeah, and then the A Fair starts right after, so 8 o'clock, all day, a deal. Vendors. I think I read somewhere she's got 187 vendors is going to be there, so it's a good deal. It's really, and just in my time in Hernando, I mean it's grown tenfold. I mean it's a huge event now. I think the numbers they get is probably unbelievable. I don't know what they are, but it seems like it grows every year. So
by the time you're up and you've had some breakfast and get out with the kids, the weather should be fantastic by about 10 or 11 o'clock. Get out to the A Fair. Yeah. Make sure to not just the vendors that are there, but also the shops and the restaurants that are on the square that are there all the time, pouring into our community. Yeah. Stop into some of them. I'm sure they're going to have some specials and other things going on, discounts and whatnot going on to check all those out. I know that there's some local artists that are going to be performing on the stage, and some of them. One of them's a friend of my daughter's, as young as 11 years old, singing the national anthem and performing up there, and so there's a lot of good local talent that we have out there that's going to be performing on the stage. So everybody check out A Fair. Have a great weekend, and we will be back with you after our next Board of Aldermen meeting. For now, I'm Ben Piper.
Chad Wicker.